a member of the party too refuses to go to court to challenge the conduct of that primaries, it means there will be no redress of any sort by any other person who is not a member of that party. The person cannot, no other person outside that political party can even maintain an action anywhere to challenge it. You can only go to God and say, God, this is the situation we find ourselves. So in all respect, I do think that since it's a brief, the political party fails to conduct its primaries within the tenets of the Electoral Act, it should be open for even public interest litigation. People should be able to challenge it and say, look, this party has not complied with the provisions of this particular law. But where you say it's only aspirants of that political party that can challenge the conduct of its primaries and nobody can do anything, we have instances of political parties even threatening their members that if you go to court, we expel you. So how do you build internal democracy? It becomes difficult because particularly I do think it conflicts with even with section 228 of the Constitution, which says that the National Assembly shall make laws for conduct of primaries and for fairness and equity in how the party conducts its primaries. So we have a lot of instances. Who can present an election? Who can present a this? It's part of what we're discussing in the Ebonyi case. If you have not participated in the election, you cannot even challenge the outcome of that election. So I think there are a lot of areas that need to be opened up and a lot of areas that need to be reviewed, particularly for the fact that our courts have not given total or absolute interpretations in some of these regards.
Well, I want to believe that what you're saying, if I get you right, Edwin Inegedu, is that our electoral laws can actually bark but can't bite.
I'm sorry, I'll actually take that again, please.
All right, don't worry. We'll have to leave it there. We've run out of time already. Edwin Inegedu, lawyer, speaking to us from Abuja, looking at the latest developments in the Ebonyi State governorship elections. Good. Thanks for joining us. We'll be joined by another lawyer, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Paul Ananaba, shortly. He'll be joining us also from Abuja. We'll take a short break and return.
Members handling the trials.
Mr. Ananaba, good morning. Can you hear me now? Hello, Mr. Nanaba, can you hear me? He can't. Hello, Mr. Nanaba, can you hear me? Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay.
Good morning, I'm hearing you.
Okay, good morning. I'll be joining you in a few seconds.
Could you please notify PCI to tell them to mute the audio with that TV?
PC, Mr. Nanaba, can you hear me? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Joe, please, let's...
Yes.
All right, you're welcome back. I'm being joined by a senior advocate of Nigeria, Paul Adanaba from Abuja. Good morning to you. Let me get your take, first of all, on the developments in Ebonyi State. The tribunal threw out the case, the prayer of Edward Nkwegu, the LP candidate. The same thing as the appeal court. Now he's going to the Supreme Court. Is this an utter waste of time or what?
Well, I am aware that this matter is still before the Supreme Court. So I won't engage on media commentary on the substance of the matter. But generally speaking, a party has rights constitutionally to appeal any decision it does not like or is not satisfied with. The political scientists will discuss whether it was a waste of time or not. But legally speaking, it's a constitutional right, and we cannot say it's a waste of time. I think that is the reason why INEC started taking steps to reduce most of these election contests in the courts by trying to get a technology like the card reader and all that, which you would agree with me has not become part of our laws fully as an act of parliament. It still remains a guideline. Hopefully, when we have such technology really in our legal system as an act of parliament, then we will be able to reduce some of these perceived delays and all that. In fact, as the election is going on, you will know whether you have won or lost, and not using the courts sometimes to get to power.
Now, of course, the use of technology by INEC that you talk about, looking at the card readers especially, the card readers have been in contention seriously in places like Akwa Ibom and other states, where candidates have had to go to court to quarrel over the outcome of the governorship elections. What else can INEC do to have a watertight situation where such cases would not be what happens? I mean, with the technology and other innovations that the INEC have put in place so far.
Well, INEC had done its bit. If you cast your mind back, you will know that there was a bill that was passed by the National Assembly
that the past administration refused to sign into law. If that amendment had gone through, we will not have these issues now, because you will clearly know when you look at the card reader report what it is all about. And two, INEC ought to have perfected the card reader technology before deploying it to such a massive election. The technology was new, and up to the point of the elections, you could agree with me that even the voters' cards were still being collected and being distributed. Those were the issues. And you have to stabilize the power and all that, because people had to lend generators and all kinds of things. And the candidates failed in many instances. However, it is a good innovation that I believe that this present administration should follow up, so we can perfect that technology, even up to the point that you don't need to get to polling units to go and vote. You can vote from wherever you are. The technology will carry it, and there will be no issue of snatching of ballot papers, ballot boxes, multiple thumb printing, and all kinds of things. That technology can be proved upon effectively. That it did not achieve total success does not mean that it cannot be improved upon. INEC should, as far as I'm concerned, spend enough resources, time and all that, and ensure that the card reader is effectively used at the next general election, so that we will reduce most of the election petitions, and then the petitions will be on deserving areas, if there should be. I mean, many countries are having elections without even a single petition. We should get to that point. We are the giant of Africa, and we should take the lead in things like that.
Indeed. Now let's come to the specifics of the Ebonyi State election case. Now it seems that the LP itself, initially, it did congratulate the court for, or the tribunal actually, for striking out the LP as a Labour Party from Nkwegu's petition, saying that they were not part of this petition or prayer, by Nkwegu, that this election, the election that brought David Umahi to power, should be overturned, and calling for re-election. But now the Labour Party has made a U-turn, and in supporting its candidate, that is Edward Nkwegu. What exactly are the legal implications of this? Are there any?
Well, like I said, since the matter is before the Supreme Court, we won't be preempting the Supreme Court. But I'll be speaking generally about when someone congratulates the order and,
yes,
and later changes his mind. By our election jurisprudence today, the party is very significant in the elections. It is the party that fields the candidate. The candidate may, in some instances, which we had seen earlier in some of the western states in Nigeria, the candidate may decide not to challenge the election, but the party feels that the election should be challenged, or that the party does not feel that there should be a contest, and the candidate says, no, I'm going to challenge this election. It is for the courts and the tribunal and the courts to stabilize it. And elections and electoral issues can only be improved upon by pronouncements that are very sound and vital in this regard. Now, if the courts, like in this case now, takes up that issue and decides it, that will bring that matter to a settled point. I look forward to the Supreme Court even getting to the point of stating the implication so that it will be established as part of our legal system. Don't worry about the moral issues. In the courts, we are not so concerned about all the morals, but it is the legal issues that the courts do. Maybe in the mosque and the churches and among in the public opinion, the court of public opinion, then you talk about much more of the morals. But the legal issues are the things. Does the man have a constitutional right? Does the Constitution say that if you congratulate someone, then you have lost you have waived your constitutional right? Can you waive your constitutional right in that instance? Those are the issues we will look out for, even at the Supreme Court pronounces on this issue.
Yes, indeed. I mean, when you talk about legalese or legality being different from mores, laws and rules actually, get their are founded upon mores of society. So, can you really separate, legality from those mores that guide any society? Legality from those mores that guide any society.
Yeah, you cannot. You cannot turn the court into the court of morals. Morals are important for society. No one downplays morals at all. Laws can also be based on the morals of a particular society. But laws are laws and morals are morals. And I give you an example. If an elderly person walks into a room, the younger person will most likely have the moral burden of saying, okay, let me stand up for my elderly person to sit down. But there's no law like that. It's only morally right that such person stands up. So when we get to court, that's not the kind of thing we'll start talking about, whether someone will go to jail or pay damages for not standing up. That's the point I'm making. So when you look at morals, they are very important for the growth of society. But that's not the a lot of jurists have gone on through this issue. But the point we're making here is that let us get our laws right through the courts. There is a National Orientation Agency and all that, Information and Culture Ministry and all that. Those are the people that are actually supposed to discuss the moral content. And when you bring all these contents together, you make up a society. The lawyers or the courts should not become champions of morals. And then the moral agencies that face the morals and ethics of the society should not now become courts of their own. So all of each agency or each institution has its role.
Indeed, that's quite clear.
And
now
that's what we should base it on.
Yes.
The Constitution, the Electoral Act.
Indeed. Now going forward, let's even talk about let's talk in generality now, since you don't want to be subjugated in talking about the specifics of this Ebonyi election. I asked my guest earlier, before I had you join us, about our electoral laws, if there were areas where he believed there are loopholes, that actually need to be plugged so that going forward, we can do better in terms of our election processes and all of that. And I did get the impression from his response that it looks like our electoral laws can bite, but can bark, but can't even bite.
Well, your guest will have his opinion. Our electoral laws are quite helpful. They have all that it takes to deal with most situations of election in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That does not mean that the electoral laws are perfect. And I just started an example with the card reader issue. The law develops, the law grows. Now that we have found out that the card readers are useful, the issue with the card reader is that it is not, so it's still a guideline of INEC. It's not an act of parliament that you can rely on to do what some courts have been doing with. Many courts have failed to realize that this is not an act of parliament. And it was this failure that the proposed amendment that was made, that was not signed into law, wanted to cure. And the point I'm making is that what we should do now is to ensure that that amendment is revisited and that INEC and all that will then improve on the technology. You know, when you practice a particular law or process, you will be able to effective amendments that will make it become a lot better. And I give you an example like the American Constitution. It's gone through several amendments. Even that small document called American Constitution, gone through several amendments. So that's the point being made, that what we have is good. What we have as Electoral Act is good. It needs some amendments, principally on the card reader. And then some other minor aspects that will have to do with allowing something like the diaspora voting, taking proper care of the people with disabilities and all that, and powers of the electoral officers and the returning officer. And
all right, we'll have to leave it there.
Senior
Advocate of Nigeria, Paul Ananaba, speaking on the Ebonyi State governorship elections and, of course, the way forward.